Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, thank you very much. Welcome to the live studios. We're in the University of Kent with a room full of exceptional persons who chant Hare Krishna like meadowlarks. I'm sorry that we're late, but I forgot to turn on the video when we started. So just forgive us, wherever you are out there in cyberspace. There's about 900 people who are following this. Well, thanks. I don't deserve it, but I'll take it anyway. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Jai. Hare Krishna. Thank you. Thank you. So, you know, we're all looking for something. Who's not looking for something? What are we looking for in common? I mean, we're looking for so many things, but what we're really looking for is love. That's it. Bottom line. The Beatles were right. That's because what we're made of is love. Remember, this is my cup, this is my mind, this is my body, this is my hand, this is my heart, this is my legs, my head. Who am I? We carry this body around and we're forced to take care of it. I don't want to go to the bathroom anymore. No, you gotta go. When you gotta go, you gotta go. That's it. So this means that none of us are free. We're thinking we're free. But that freedom is like, the playpen that they give a baby. When the baby's really new, they can't go many places and they can't do many things. So they're satisfied if you just give them a playpen that they can run around in. And then they get a little bigger, right? And then you got to make a little bigger playpen, otherwise they get upset. And then you got to make a little better. Then you got to get a house. And it's got to have a yard. Anyway, you get the picture. But they're always limited to where they can go and what they can do. But we don't like that. Babies don't like it, and neither do we. We want to be free. We want to see the free light of the Spirit. We want to move wherever we want to go. We want to do whatever we want to do. That's the human spirit. We're all looking for relationships. We're looking for that soulmate. Right? That soulmate. The one, they call it, the one. And even if you find it, or her, or him, or whatever it is nowadays, you can't stay with them forever. But we don't like that. I'm getting old, darn it. I don't want to get old, but I'm getting old anyway. And it's going to happen to every single one of you. And then at some point, what? I'm going to have to leave this body. But if you actually know, before you leave the body, that you're not the body, it makes it a heck of a lot easier. Do you understand? All the things we're attached to, especially the body. So the Vedas say that the reason we're so attached to this body is because the soul is in the body, the Atma, the source of consciousness is in the body. The consciousness is not, contrary to popular belief nowadays, created by chemicals. I mean, this is a gross example, don't mind. It seems simplistic, but it's like saying the car made the driver. Everybody knows that the car didn't make the driver. Everybody knows that the driver makes the car go. And without the driver, the car can't move, it can't do anything. So according to the Bhagavad Gita, which is the basic scripture, the basic text, the yoga text, the text that describes the yoga ladder. There's a yoga ladder. How many have heard of the yoga ladder? Something. So the yoga ladder takes us through different stages of yoga. Who knows what yoga means?
To bind or connect?
Connects? Correct. If you're in India and you take arithmetic, what does yoga mean?
Add.
To add. Correct. So the yoga ladder takes us through different stages of spiritual development. The first stage is called karma yoga. What does karma mean? I mean, it's in the lexicon of English now. You should know this. I'll teach you something. What does karma mean? Activity. Thank you. Yes. Karma means activity. And particularly activity of the body and the senses. Work. Everybody has to work. Karma jayo yakarmana. Bhagavad Gita. Karma jayo. All glorious to work. Why? Sharira yatra pichite. Because sharira yatra pichite, you can't maintain even your body and soul together without work. Therefore, everybody has to work, and human society is in trouble, or a human society, if there's unemployment. Isn't it? So when you work, and you want the fruits of the work, I mean, almost everybody wants the fruit from the work. That's why they're working. There is no love here. Love means I'll work for you and you don't have to pay me. I do it because I love you. So in karma yoga, there's no real love because we want the fruit. But still, we want yoga. We want to connect with our source. So we work and we take some of the fruit of the work and we give it to the source. And that connects us to the source and it purifies the work, the reactions to the work. Actually, karma has three phases. Karma, vikarma, and akarma. You didn't know that, right? That's different. We know about karma, but we don't know about akarma or vikarma. So karma actually means, according to the definition of the word in the Gita, it means when I work and I want the fruits, but I'm willing to follow the rules. By rules we mean the laws of nature. In case you didn't notice, human beings are more and more disinterested in following the laws of nature. And therefore the air and the water and the earth are polluted, as are our minds and our bodies, etc., etc. Therefore we need more hospitals and we need more mental institutions to deal with diseased minds and bodies that got like that because they're not following the laws of nature. But if you're willing to follow the laws of nature, but you still are attached to the fruits, and you give some of those fruits to the source, then you improve your life. Your life improves. The quality of your life improves. Even if economically you don't improve, the quality of your internal life improves. You become more peaceful inside and more natural. You feel more centered and more natural. That's karma. Now, vikarma is a special word. The word vi means against. So vikarma means when I have to work, and everybody has to work, and we want the fruits, most people want the fruits, but we're not willing to follow the rules of nature, the laws of nature. So when we do that, we don't want to give any of the fruits to the source. We want all the fruits for number one over here. And we go down. the quality of life goes down. And that's what's happening all over the human society. The resources are going to fewer and fewer people up, and the vast majority of people are getting less and less pieces of the pie. Inequality is becoming so grossly unequal that, people all over the place are just disturbed, but they don't know what to do about it. That's called vikarma. But the most serious thing, and this is what most people don't understand and what is taught in the Bhagavad Gita and in the Vedic scripture, this is called spiritual education, what we're talking about right now. Because all these things are true. They're facts. My body is changing, whether I like it or not. Every cell in my body is changing, dying, and becoming reborn by what I put in my mouth. If I'm not careful of what I put in my mouth, the development of the body becomes strange and stranger and stranger, and he'll end up a fish, or a worm, or an eagle, or a hamster in some laboratory, or a dog, or a cat, or an elephant. Did you ever notice that all those animals have got eyes? They may look different than ours, but they've all got eyes, and ears, and a nose, and a mouth. And they've all got to eat. And they pass what they can't use in the body out. Akarma means without. It's a prefix in Sanskrit that means without. So if we work, and we're not interested in the work, the fruits, for ourselves, but we give all the fruit to the source, then there's no reaction in this material world, up or down. And when we leave the body, we go in our spiritual form, in our spiritual body, us. Here, this is my cup, and this is water. I'm thirsty. And if I say, water, 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 it won't quench my thirst. Why? Because there's a difference between this substance and the word water. So if I want to quench my thirst, I have to drink the water. That's the material world. The sound of an object and the object are different. But in the spiritual world, the sound of the object and the object are the same. In fact, the body and the soul are the same. There's no embodied souls in the spiritual world. There is a spiritual world. And that spiritual world is far beyond the covered walls of this universe, and it's where we came from, and it's where we actually belong. So spiritual education means, what can I do? We only have a few minutes. How can I give you much information about all of this? But these literatures, they can give you so much happiness in knowledge. They can teach you who you are and where you came from and where you're meant to go and where you're going to go if you're not careful. Now, I made a vow a long time ago that I would read from these books every day out loud to whoever is there in the room when it comes time and it's past time. They just started this live stream, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to make an experiment, but I have to have your permission. I want to read to you just a few pages of the books that we study and live by. Permission?
Yeah.
You sure? Okay, sounds good. Looks good. Okay. First of all, I'm going to read a prayer from the very elevated oops. Get rid of the sound. Sound no more. Okay. The 8 verses which describe the book I'm about to read from. It's called Srimad-Bhagavata Mahima Stotram. The glories, a prayer that explains the glories of the Srimad-Bhagavatam. The word Bhagavat means pertaining to the Supreme, the source of everything. Srimad means beautiful. Mahima means glories. And Stotram means prayer. It goes like this. Sarva Shastrabdi Piyusha Sarva Vedaika Satpala Sarva Siddhanta Ratnaja Sarvalokaika Drikprada. O nectar from the ocean of all scriptures, singular fruit of all the Vedas, rich mine of the precious gems of all conclusive truths, you are the only giver of sight to all the worlds. Sarva Bhagavata Prana Srimad Bhagavata Prabho Kalidwandoditaditya Shri Krishna Parivartita. O life air of all the Supreme Lord's devotees, O Srimad Bhagavatam, you are the sun risen in the darkness of Kali. You are the exact image of Sri Krishna. Paramananda Pataya Prema Varshakshadayate Sarvada Savasevyaya Sri Krishnaya Namostume. I bow down to you, who are supremely blissful to read. Your every syllable pours down a flood of prema. The word prema means love, pure love, love for God. You can always be served by everyone. You are Sri Krishna himself. Madeka Bando Matsangin Madguru Mad Bahadana Mannishtadaka Mad Bhagya Mad Ananda Namostute. My only friend, my constant companion, my spiritual master, my great wealth, my savior, my good fortune, my source of ecstasy, I bow down to you. Asadu, saduta dayin, atinichuchatakara, hanamun chagadachin mam, premnarit kantayospura. O bestower of saintliness to the unsaintly, O exalter of the most fallen. No excuses, but I'm most fallen. Doesn't make any difference. This book will exalt you, elevate you. Please never leave me. Always appear in my heart and my voice with pure love. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Well done. We're reading from the third canto. We're just starting chapter 2. This is called Remembrance of Lord Krishna. Text 1. Shukadeva Goswami said, when the great devotee Uddhava was asked by Vidura to speak on the messages of the dearest Lord Krishna, Uddhava was unable to answer immediately due to excessive anxiety at the remembrance of the Lord. The reason is because Krishna just left the world. And Vidura didn't know it because he had been traveling in pilgrimage all through India. But Uddhava knew it because he was with Krishna just before he left. Text 2. He was one who, even in his childhood, at the age of 5 years, was so absorbed in the service of Lord Krishna that when he was called by his mother for morning breakfast, he did not wish to have it. Purport. From his very birth, Uddhava was a natural devotee of Lord Krishna, or a Nitya Siddha, a liberated soul. From natural instinct, he used to serve Lord Krishna even in his childhood. He used to play with dolls in the form of Krishna. He would even serve the dolls by dressing, feeding, and worshipping them. And thus he was constantly absorbed in the play of transcendental realization. These are the signs of an eternally liberated soul. An eternally liberated soul is a devotee of the Lord who never forgets him. Human life is meant for reviving one's eternal relation with the Lord. And all religious injunctions are meant for awakening this dormant instinct of a living entity. The sooner this awakening is brought about, the quicker the mission of human life is fulfilled. In a good family of devotees, the child gets the opportunity to serve the Lord in many ways. The soul who is already advanced in devotional service has the opportunity to take birth in such an enlightened family. This is confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita. Shuchinam, Srimatam Gehe, Yoga Brashto, Vijayate. Even the fallen devotee gets the opportunity to take his birth in the family of a well-situated Brahmana or in a rich, well-to-do, mercantile family. In both these families, there is a good opportunity to revive one's sense of God consciousness automatically, because particularly in these families the worship of Lord Krishna is regularly performed, and the child gets the opportunity to imitate the process of worship called archana. The Pancharatriki formula for training persons in devotional service is temple worship, whereby the neophytes get the opportunity to learn devotional service to the Lord. Maharaj Parikshit used to play with Krishna dolls in his childhood. In India, the children of good families are still given dolls of the Lord like Rama and Krishna, or sometimes the demigods, so that they may develop the aptitude of service to the Lord. By the grace of the Lord, we were given the same opportunity by our parents. And the beginning of our life was based on this principle that Srila Prabhupada speaking. He wrote the purports to these verses, to this scripture. Can I go on? Is it okay? Seriously, is it okay? Text 3. Uddhava thus served the Lord continuously from childhood. And in his old age, that attitude of service never slackened. As soon as he was asked about the message of the Lord, he at once remembered all about him. Purport. Transcendental service to the Lord is not mundane. The service attitude of the devotee naturally increases and never becomes slackened. Generally, in old age, a person is allowed retirement from mundane service. But in the transcendental service of the Lord, there is no retirement at all. On the contrary, the service attitude increases more and more with the progress of age. In the transcendental service, there is no satiation, and therefore there is no retirement. Materially, when a man becomes tired by rendering service in his physical body, he is allowed retirement. But in the transcendental service, there is no feeling of fatigue, because it is spiritual service and is not on the bodily plane. Service on the bodily plane dwindles as the body grows older. Did I tell you how old I was? Okay. But the spirit never is never old, and therefore in the spiritual plane, the service is never tiresome. Uddhava undoubtedly became old, but that does not mean that his spirit became old. His service attitude matured on the transcendental plane, and therefore as soon as he was questioned by Vidura about Lord Krishna, he at once remembered his Lord by reference to the context and forgot himself on the physical plane. That is the sign of pure devotional service to the Lord. As will be explained later on, Lakshanam, Bhakti Yogasya. There's again that word yoga is all through the Vedic scriptures. In Lord Kapila's instructions to his mother, Devahuti. So to give you an example now, this is not just philosophy, this is not just made up stories, it's not just abstract thinking. My spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada, left India for the first time at the age of 69. He had gotten the order of his spiritual master to come and explain this science of Bhakti Yoga in the West. At that time, there were literally more than 200, maybe more, translations of the Bhagavad Gita in English. And not one person became a devotee of Krishna, even though the Bhagavad Gita says, Manmana bhavamad bhakto, mad bhakto, become my devotee. No one became a devotee of Krishna as a result of hearing those Bhagavad Gitas. But as soon as Prabhupada started distributing the Bhagavad Gita as it is, literally thousands of people, of us, came it was like iron filings to a magnet. And he was saying things that were completely counterintuitive to all the things that we stood for. Freedom. Remember, you were here in the late 60s, early 70s? So, you know. We didn't want to have anything to do with anything that wasn't free. We wanted free this and free that. I won't name all the things we wanted freedom from, freedom for. And he came and told us, no, you have to control your senses. He taught yoga principles. You should control your senses. You shouldn't just do whatever you think and whatever you feel. You shouldn't become a slave of your senses. That's not freedom. Freedom is inside. Happiness is inside. Pleasure is inside. Because the soul, the body, is inert. I just broke my arm not too long ago, and it needed surgery. and they put a block on the senses, on the nerves here, and my arm became completely like a limp dish rag. And if I moved without paying attention, it would just flop around like this. And when I lifted it up, it was heavy. I mean, you can lift your arm, it's, but, dead weight. When the soul's not in the body, it becomes dead weight. Why? Because it's dead. Literally, it's dead. The body is dead. It's not alive. It looks like it's alive because we're inside. This is spiritual science. This is not airy-fairy something. This is spiritual science. Dehi nosmin yata dehe komadam jovananjana dehantara prabdir dhiras tatra namuyati. This is the first instruction by Krishna to Arjuna in the Bhagavad Gita. Dehi nosmin yata dehe. The soul is embodied in a body. And the soul moves from komaran jovanam jara, from boyhood or girlhood, whatever you are, to youth, to old age. The body's changing. We made that point before in our introduction. The body's always changing, but we're staying the same. Dhira, the word dhira means sober, one who is in knowledge. Dhiras tatra namuyati. Muyati means bewildered. Dhiras tatra namuyati. The soul who is sober, who knows this. Sober means who is in knowledge, who knows this, that we're not the body, that the body's changing. And at the end of the life, we change our body, that's all. We don't die. This is the source of freedom. This is the source of freedom from anxiety. This is the source of freedom from fear. Every one of us in this material world is afraid. Whether you like to admit it or not, it's a fact. Because why? Because we don't know what's going to happen in the future. Particularly, we don't know what's going to happen when we leave our bodies. And therefore, we're like rabbits. You know what happens to a rabbit when a fox chases it into a corner? Do you know what it does? It closes its eyes and it wiggles its nose. And it thinks that there's no more danger. Akarma yoga. Akarma yoga means the yoga that can remove your karma and not cause a reaction, so that when you leave your body, you can return to your original home in your spiritual body. We've got 3 bodies. Every one of us has 3 bodies. Would you like to take a guess? Come on, you can do it.
Subtle.
Subtle, yeah.
Material.
Gross. Subtle is also material. Okay, I'll give it to you straight. We have a gross physical body. That body is made of different energies, separated energies of Krishna. Just like now I'm recording onto that phone this talk. And when we get to finish recording it, I can leave the room and turn that on, and you can watch me just like I'm there, saying same things. But I'm separated. It's separated from me. I had to be there, otherwise it wouldn't be recorded on there. But it's separated from me. So the material energy, earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, and false ego, they are the separated energies of Krishna. Bhumarapamanolo vayu kammano buddhir evacha ahankara itiya me Bina, prakritim ashrita. Bina means separated. Prakriti means energy. So the gross body is made of separated energy of Krishna. And what is it separating us from? From Krishna. Just like the sun shines down on the ocean, and it creates what? Cloud. The sun creates the cloud by evaporating the water. And then what happens? The cloud covers the sun. So Krishna creates the material energy, separates it from him, and that covers the soul's vision of Krishna. So the gross physical body is one body, and it's dead, it's inert, it's not alive. When one of our loved ones leaves the body, what do we say? He's gone. But right there, he's right there. You can take a picture. And why are we lamenting? If life is just a bunch of chemicals, why are we lamenting when the soul leaves the body? It means we haven't seen our loved ones, actually. Not really. So there's a subtle body that's made of mind and intelligence and false ego. That's the body that you dream in. Here, who here has dreams? Okay. So when you're in your dream body, you can do pretty far out things, actually. You can fly through the sky. You ever flown through the sky in a dream? No? Something. When I was a kid, I used to have this dream, and I put a towel, and I would hold it here, and then it would go up here, and then back here, and then here. And I would run, and I'd go, whoo, you know. And I'd fly through the air, and I'd see all the panoramic views, and miss all the power lines, and treetops, and everything. Right? And it was invigorating. It was exhilarating. I was, wow, this is great. And then somebody wakes me up, and I'm in the bed. Oh, what a drag. Wish I could do that again. I tried to go back to sleep, nothing. So that's the subtle body. It actually has a form. You've noticed? So you have the gross body, then you have the subtle body, and then you have a spiritual body. The spiritual body is very, very tiny while it's in the material world. And it is the source of consciousness. And it's located in the region of the heart, not physically, but in the region of the heart, spiritually. And from the soul emanates consciousness, just like an atomic particle emanates radiation materially. And that consciousness is spread throughout the body and gives us the sensation that we're alive and allows us to feel pain and pleasure. But notice that the gross body is inert, it's dead, it's not alive, and the proof is that when the soul leaves the body becomes inert. Actually, you have to get rid of it as soon as possible. They have laws. If somebody leaves the body, somebody has to come and take it away, like right away. Did you know that? They have that laws here? Haribol. Hare Krishna. You look like you belong here. Well, you look like you don't belong in the material world anyway. Hare Krishna. Nice to see you.
I'm sorry about that.
You're forgiven. If you knew what I looked like, you'd probably be later. Am I painting a picture? Am I painting a picture? Is anyone getting it? Anyone who's getting it, raise their hands. Wow. So this is human life. This is human life, what we're doing right now. You can put out as many posters as you want, and you can put it, down on the ground so the dogs and cats can see it. But none of them will come to hear like this. Only the human beings can hear like this. And only the human beings are meant for this, to become spiritually educated, to find out who they are, and by the time they leave the body, to be spiritually enlightened, and to go back to the spiritual world where we came from and where we belong, where there is no death, there is no birth, there is no old age, and there is no disease. Now, wouldn't that be nice? Oh, you can't prove it. Well, can you prove that the thing started with the Big Bang and there was zero, and when I leave the body there's nothing? You can prove it? There's all kinds of clinical, examples of people who are beginning to have out-of-body experiences, near-death experiences, and they see things. They even watch the doctors, and they can tell afterwards what was said and done, and yeah. Okay, so let's say you can't prove either one, just for our sake of argument, right? So you can't. So okay, what's going to be the result of one or the other? One of them is that everything's finished, so it's void. There's nothing. And the other is that you get an eternal life of bliss and knowledge. So if you can't prove either one, which one will you go for? That's a human being. That's a human being. And therefore, those who are not interested in this at all and who think it's hogwash, they are not human beings. And right now, in case you didn't notice, they're in charge politically. I hope I'm invited back. We better be very careful.
Krishna consciousness, you could use fire walking as an example, maybe, as 5,000 degrees, I think it's Fahrenheit, doesn't burn the souls of a yogi.
Well, it's true, but we're not interested.
No.
We're not interested at all. Why? There's a statement in the Bible that says, "Blessed are those who have seen and believe, but more blessed are those who have not seen and believe." So if you can hear and accept what we're saying about the nature of the soul and the nature of spiritual existence and how it exists, then that's better. If you need to walk through fire, but most of the people who do that, if you go deep into their thoughts and find out what they're teaching, they won't tell you about the spiritual world. They will give you no idea about the form of God or what's going on in the spiritual world. But these literatures describe those things in detail to the point where you can visualize, where you can really meditate, not by trying to block everything out. Meditation doesn't mean to stop the thought. You can't stop thought. Who can stop thought, thinking? Even when you're sleeping at night, you're dreaming. You can't stop thinking. Thinking is part of the constitutional position of the soul. You can't stop feeling. You can't stop desiring. This whole hogwash about desirelessness is just not true. You can't be free from desires. We have to change the quality of our desires, that's all. Anyway, the process of Krishna consciousness teaches us to change the quality of our desires so that we will want to help others. I can read to you. Get me that Gita. Yeah. There's a verse in the 17th chapter in the Gita that talks about austerity. Austerity of the mind. (17, 13). These are the austerities of the mind. Ready? Are you sure? Are you sure you're ready? And satisfaction. What? Satisfaction's an austerity? How can satisfaction be an austerity? Austerity is when I go and stay in a cold place in order to achieve something, in the future better. See ya.
Yeah, thank you so much.
It was nice to see you.
Thank you.
I hope we see you again.
Yeah, I'll definitely.
One thing. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
My life success. See, didn't want you to go. You should stay here. We had the guards lock the door from the outside. Oh. Fire that guard. Okay. Satisfaction. Simplicity. Self-control. And purification of one's existence are the austerities of the mind. Now listen to this. This is Prabhupada's purport to this verse. To make the mind austere is to detach it from sense gratification. Are you listening? Anybody who's not listening, raise your hand. Good. Thank you. To make the mind, it should be trained, the mind, so that it can always be thinking of doing good for others. That's what gives us satisfaction. That's what makes the mind peaceful. But if we're always thinking about how to get something from me, the mind is always disturbed because it never works. I may get it, but then I get worried because somebody's going to take it away. Or even if I don't, somebody takes it away anyway. The soul never changes. The soul is made of a different energy, not of earth and water and fire and air and ether and mind and intelligence and false ego. The soul is made of three energies: Sat, Chit, and Ananda. Sat means eternity. Chit means knowledge. And Ananda means pleasure. Spiritual bliss. And that's why we're always looking for it. And that's why we never want to die. And that's why we don't want to get old. And that's why we want to know everything. And that's why we have the internet. The internet is the sum total of all the human beings' desires to want to know everything. That facility is given to us by whom? Yes. Yes. Correct. Okay. I'm going to stop now. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. It's my deep honor, privilege, and pleasure to do this. Because according to Krishna, in the Bhagavad Gita, in chapter 18, verse 68 and 69, you want a new occupation? You want the best occupation? It's right here. Ya idam padamam guyam Mad bhaktesh abidasyati. Bhaktim mai param kritva mam evaishatya sangshayaha. For one who explains this supreme secret to the devotees. You're all devotees, whether you know it or not. I can see. Pure devotional service is guaranteed. And at the end, he will come back to me. Nacha tasman manusheshu kaschin me priyakrita maha bhavita nacha me tasmad anyak priyataro bhuvi. There is no servant in this world more dear to me than he, nor will there ever be one more dear. I rest my case. Hare Krishna. Thank you. So, if there are any questions or comments or reflections, realizations, yes, please.
Thank you so much for your program for coming. How can we see through the cloud from the sun on the other side?
What is it that dissipates the cloud?
Sun.
Yes. How does it do it? Where does rain come from?
From the clouds.
And what happens when all the rain is gone? The cloud disappears. So Krishna creates the cloud, and Krishna can disperse the cloud. Another good example is fog. In the morning, the sun beats down on the cold ground, wet ground, and it causes fog. And you can't see. Very dangerous to drive, very dangerous. And sometimes it's so thick you can't see even this far in front of you. But the sun dissipates the fog. So Krishna will dissipate that cloud. And all you have to do is learn the art of thinking about him. And the beginning of that is to chant Hare Krishna. And it's free. We don't charge any money for the Maha Mantra like some people we know, which we won't talk about or even mention. Make a business out of spiritual improvement. It's gross. Free. You can have happiness free. You know what they say? The best things in life are free. Isn't it? But now the best things in life aren't the best things in life because the air and the water and the earth and so many things are polluted. They make some kind of chemical solution to some disease or some whatever, and what ends up happening is the thing that it's trying to treat becomes polluted even more. That makes it worse instead of better. Because they're not following the laws of nature. They're not allowing the earth to heal. I know, I just had my arm was this big and it was black from here to here. Broken shoulder, elbow. And that was only May 30th that happened. And now my arm, it's not completely well, but it's almost well. And it just healed. Just leave it alone. Put it in, a thing so it doesn't move, and then it just heals. I mean, how good is that? And we don't want to give credit to anybody. We want to say that it just happened by chance, by accident. These things are happening. Not happening by chance. No accidents. There's a saying, God is great. And it's true. We're not saying anything different. But what it means, great, that's not, the details are not being given very much. But in the Bhagavad Gita and the Srimad-Bhagavatam and these literatures, the details of how it is that God's great, how it is that He's omniscient, how it is that He's omnipotent, how it is that He's omnipresent, are given in detail so that you can visualize it clearly, concretely. Because most people who are teaching spiritual philosophy, they're just mental speculators, and they're enjoying their minds by mental gymnastic. Yes.
I read the caller for Nectar of Instruction this summer, and I found myself get quite disappointed that I'm not like following all of the regulations of pure devotee, like chanting 16 rounds. But I was only introduced to this in November last year.
Good for you.
Well, I think it's quite hard to forgive myself for not being perfect yet. So. should I
Okay,
stop
so
worrying
let's
about
start
that?
there. Let's start there. First of all, you are perfect. You just don't know it. Your body is not perfect, your mind's not perfect, but the soul's perfect. Actually, the creation is made perfect, but the human beings, the souls in human bodies, they're not satisfied with nature's arrangement. They've got to try to improve it. I just passed a big building. It was called the Innovative, what is it? Innovative, isn't it? Just right around the corner. I passed the building. Innovation Center, that's it. The Innovation Center, really? You know? I mean, even if you could put a few chemicals together and make one, whatever, molecule of, whatever, enzyme or something, a building block of life, you haven't made life yet. But even if you could, what would be your credit? Life's going on all around you. And uneducated human beings, they'll worship somebody or make a vote and elect somebody to be God because he can do some mystic power. Create a little gold, this much. But they won't worship the person who created all the gold mines in the universe. You get my point? You are perfect. Everyone is. We're just in a dream. And if you take this Krishna consciousness seriously, you will wake up from the dream. You're already in the spiritual world. Just like, where's the nearest top security prison? Maidstone. So when you're in that prison, you're still in Maidstone. You're not outside of Maidstone. You're just in a place where there's a whole bunch of extra government laws that you have to follow, and you got less freedom, but you're still in Maidstone. So even when we're in this material world, we're in the spiritual world. We're just in a part of it that's been covered by all kinds of different rules and regulations that we can't avoid and that we must follow. We're forced. And you just have to learn what they are and learn how to live according to spiritual laws. And don't be disappointed in yourself because you can't follow all of them right away. Sometimes it takes lifetimes. Sometimes it takes one lifetime. Sometimes it takes an instant. Sometimes it takes millions of births. It's up to you. Hare Krishna. Thank you. What else? Okay, we've gone over. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. Thank you all for coming. I'm so attached to you, I won't want to leave like she wanted to leave. I won't want to leave. But we have to. So, I hope I'll see you all again. And please chant Hare Krishna. Please be happy. It's so much better than suffering. That's all Prabhupada's asking us to do. I didn't finish my story. He came out of India at 69 years old. He came on a boat, a cargo boat. He had 2 heart attacks on the way. And he was 70 years old when he reached Boston Harbor in America. And at that age, 70, from the beginning of that age, he went around the earth 14 times. He initiated 5,000 people like me and taught us how to be devotees of Krishna. He wrote almost 80 books about Krishna consciousness. He opened up exactly 108 centers, temples, farm communities, in 12 years. No one has ever done it before, and no one will ever do it again. Because to do that, you have to be empowered. So we invite you, please chant Hare Krishna. And you can taste the eternal. You can taste something higher. And you don't have to change your physical situation. You don't have to go anywhere, do anything, or give anything up, actually. I mean, there's some things you do have to give up, you know. We'll get to that later. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much.
Let's give
Hare
Maharaj
Krishna.
a round of applause.